The alarm shrieked through the diplomatic quarters of Station Kepler 7, a sound that made even the most seasoned personnel freeze. Commander Dexval's 4 eyes widened in horror as the translation scrolled across his neural implant. Predator cubs missing. Repeat. Corvethian cubs unaccounted for. In the 73 cycles since humanity had joined the Galactic Council, they had proven themselves curious, resilient, and unsettlingly creative. But this could start a war. The Corvathians were apex predators from a gravity-heavy world where titanium-hard scales and retractable claws were evolutionary necessities. Their cubs, even in infancy, possessed bite forces capable of severing durasteel. 3 of them had vanished from the secured nursery, and protocol demanded immediate lockdown. Dexval's security team swept through the station's residential sector with military precision. The Corvathian delegation followed, their massive frames barely fitting through the corridors, their low growls vibrating through the deck plates. Ambassador Krithos, matriarch of the delegation, radiated barely controlled fury. Her cubs were her pride, her genetic legacy, and someone would answer for their disappearance. "Human quarters, sir," reported Lieutenant Vess, her antenna quivering. Thermal signatures indicate ... something. The door to Malin Cross's apartment was unlocked, which violated approximately 17 safety protocols. Dexval entered first, his weapon drawn, preparing for the worst. What he found defied every tactical scenario he'd ever trained for. Malin Cross, the station's human xenobiologist, sat cross-legged on her floor, surrounded by scattered datapads and empty coffee mugs. Her brown hair fell messily around her shoulders, and her eyes were closed. She appeared to be sleeping upright, her back against the wall, her breathing deep and even. And curled against her chest, purring with a sound like distant thunder, was Cub Varak. The smallest of the Corvathian cubs, still the size of a human torso, had wedged himself directly over her heart. His scales, typically a militant gray, had softened to an almost pearlescent blue, a color Dexval had only seen in historical texts. It was the shade of complete contentment, of absolute safety. The other 2 cubs lay sprawled nearby, one draped across Melon's outstretched legs, the other nestled against her side, using her hip as a pillow. All 3 were fast asleep, their claws retracted, their breathing synchronized with the humans. "By the ancestors ... double quotes," Ambassador Krithos whispered, pushing past Dexval. Her fury evaporated, replaced by something the translator struggled to identify. Wonder? Disbelief? "Do not wake them," she commanded, her voice suddenly gentle. "Ambassador, I must insist we retrieve the cubs immediately. The human may be in danger. Look at Varak's scales," Krithos interrupted, her tone leaving no room for argument. "Look at their breathing. Commander, do you know what you're seeing?" Dexval didn't. His species hadn't had predators for millennia. "This is impossible," Krithos continued, lowering herself to her haunches, studying the scene. "Our cubs don't sleep outside the den. They don't sleep near strangers. They certainly don't enter a chromatic rest state in the presence of non-Corvathians. The prey-fear response alone should have made them aggressive." "Then how?" "She has no fear," Krithos said simply. "None. Can you smell it? Or rather, can you smell the absence of it?" Dexval activated his chemical sensors. The ambassador was right. Malin's pheromone signature showed fatigue, mild caffeine overdose, and traces of what humans called contentment. But no cortisol spike, no adrenaline, no fear scent whatsoever. "Impossible," he repeated. "She's surrounded by apex predators. Her species is biologically programmed. Your species is," Krithos corrected. "Humans are ... different." As if on cue, Malin stirred. Her eyes opened slowly, unfocused for a moment, before landing on the crowd of armed personnel and massive aliens filling her quarters. A normal person would have panicked. Malin Cross smiled. "Oh, hey," she murmured, her voice rough with sleep. She glanced down at Cub Varak, still purring against her chest. "I was wondering when you noticed they'd wandered off. They were here?" Dexval sputtered. "Well, yeah. They showed up around second shift. Scraped at the door until I let them in." She gently stroked Varak's scales, and the cubs' purring intensified. "I figured their mom would come looking eventually, but they seemed tired, so ... So you fell asleep with 3 apex predator cubs in your lap?" Malin shrugged, a gesture that made Varric shift but not wake. They were scared. The station's environmental systems are too cold for them, and the nursery lights are wrong to blue spectrum. I read the brief about Corvathian homeworld conditions. Your sun is more orange-red, right? She addressed Krithos directly. I adjusted my apartment's lighting and bumped the temperature. Figured if they wanted to leave, they would. Ambassador Krithos made a sound half laugh, half growl. You adapted your den to comfort my children. I mean, they're babies, Malin said, as if this explained everything. Babies need to feel safe. They are predators. So are house cats, technically. Doesn't mean they don't need cuddles. The translator unit struggled with cuddles, eventually settling on a Corvathian phrase meaning comfort bonding through sustained physical contact. Krithos' eyes widened. Your species had predatory companions? Still do. We've been domesticating wolves for like 40,000 years. Cats invited themselves in about 10,000 years ago and never left. Malin smiled at Varric. Besides, I could hear his heartbeat. It was too fast anxiety pattern. Once he got close enough to hear mine, he calmed down. They all did. Vexvol's tactical brain finally caught up. You used your cardiac rhythm to soothe them? Hearts are pretty universal, Malin replied. Steady heartbeat means safety. It's why human babies sleep better on their parents' chests. I figured it might work cross-species. It shouldn't have worked. Every xenobiological principle said it shouldn't have worked. But cub Varric, nestled against a human's heart, slept on peacefully. Ambassador Krithos stood, her massive frame seeming somehow less intimidating. Malin Cross, you have done my family a great honor. By Corvathian law, you have proven yourself den mother to my cubs. This is a bond not easily broken. I just ... They needed help? Exactly, Krithos rumbled, and this time the translator captured it perfectly. Respect. As the security team dispersed and the crisis dissolved into a diplomatic incident of the best kind, Vexval filed his report with a single addendum that would circulate through council databases for decades. Humans remain categorized as predators. However, they appear to have domesticated themselves first. Recommend updating threat assessment protocols. Possibly recommend updating definition of predator entirely. In her quarters, Malin Cross gently transferred the sleeping cubs back to their mother's arms, though Varric protested briefly at leaving his human's heartbeat behind. Come visit anytime, Malin whispered, scratching behind his tiny horns. And somehow everyone knew he would.